So that's the spiel for the beginning. Tonight's topic is planning for retirement when you're single. Those of you who've attended in the past, I love my single women because this is a demographic that is increasingly growing. Statistics in Canada show that up until around the late 30s, the number of Canadians who are single remains steady no matter what category you fall into. But once we reach early 40s, mid 40s, and then especially mid 50s shooting up, the number of women who are single just jumps drastically. And a lot of that has to do with divorce and unfortunately a partner passing away. So when it comes to planning for retirement, which is tonight's topic, a lot of the basics are the same, whether you are in a relationship or not. But there are a few things that are different. So I outlined them in 8 parts in no particular order, by the way. Every point is just as equally as important. But I would like to highlight the points that particularly affect women or particularly affect someone who is single and doesn't have a partner beside them. When you're planning for retirement or planning for your finances in general, when you are alone, or when it's only your finances, it's so key to be on top of your finances because there's nobody else to fall back on. This also applies if you're in a relationship but financially single, if you know what I mean. It's quite possible that if you are in, whether you're married or common law or in a relationship, you know, finances is the number one reason why couples separate or divorce. It's true. Sometimes you could be in a relationship, and I don't know if any of you fall into this, but you could be in a relationship and also be single because the person that you're with isn't responsible or you don't see eye to eye on your finances. So when it comes to retirement planning when you're single, number one of the things that you need to always consider is be aware of your time horizon. This again applies to whether you are in a relationship or not. It's important to know how long you have until you retire. So as an example, my children are of working age, they're still in school, but they all work. And even though they're quite far away from retirement, I make them put money aside and invest. And luckily, they're still at an age where they listen to me, so they do it. And the reason why I say that is because if you don't grow up with healthy financial habits from your family, then you get into the real world and you kind of adapt to your surroundings and whoever's around you. And it could be, you could be around people who are not financially responsible and you end up just spending over your means, or you could be lucky and fortunate enough to be around people like coworkers or friends at school who are responsible with their money. Beware of your time horizon because there's always time until there's not enough time. And I've unfortunately seen situations where most of my clients are women. I've been in situations where women who are approaching retirement, and that's when they start planning for retirement, and that's not the right time. You can't plan for retirement 5 years before you plan on retiring. You have to start as soon as possible. If you haven't started, start right away. Be aware of your time horizon. If you're 40, for example, if you're 40 years old, in your head, you might think to yourself, I'm going to retire when I'm 65. You also have to kind of be aware that maybe you might not physically make it to 65 being able to work. These are realities that you have to consider. Just be aware of your time horizon and how long and how long you have to accumulate those retirement funds. Number two, assess your current retirement income projection. What does that mean? That means whatever it is that you have now in terms of retirement, any monies, wherever it is, whether it's in the checking account, savings account, TFSA, RRSP, LIRA, under your mattress, assess your current retirement income projection. If you don't change anything at age 65, which is, we'll use that as the target retirement retirement date, at age 65, how much will you have access to annually for the next 35 years? So whenever I run a retirement plan for clients, it's always retirement at age 65, and you need enough money to survive for 35 years, assuming that you live until 100. And most clients will say, I'm not going to live till 100. And I tell them, okay, just pretend you're living till 100. So that's what I mean. Assess your current retirement income projection based on today. Be honest with yourself. If you have, like, let's say a ton of money and your checking or savings not growing, take that in consideration. If I don't change what I'm doing, this is how much I plan. This is how much I project to have at the age of 65, which divided up comes out to this amount of money per year during my retirement years. So that's number two. Number three, create a retirement savings plan. So when I mean a savings plan, I mean, what are you contributing regularly towards your retirement? Some of you here already might be doing it already. So that's good. Take that into when you're calculating your numbers. Make sure you contribute to your retirement regularly. First of all, what it does is that it creates a good savings habit for you towards retirement. And also, if you're investing that money, you're investing your money at different periods of the market. So if, let's say you're contributing, as an example, $200 a month to an RRSP for the next 20 years, well, that money is being contributed at both the highs and lows in the market. So there's a concept called dollar cost averaging when you're investing, and it's basically the average of your share price at the end, how much the average of the share price overall over time, that you've purchased these shares in. Okay, so create a retirement savings plan. Make sure you contribute to your retirement on a regular basis. Number four, invest your money, whatever is allocated for retirement, based on number one. So point number one was be aware of your time horizon. So point number four is invest based on point number one. Okay, so if you have a longer time horizon, if you're more than 10 years out from retirement, what you project when you want to retire, make sure you're invested aggressively. If you're doing self-directed investing, it's a little bit, I'm not really in a position to give advice on that, because self-directed investing it's how you want to invest. But if you're working with an advisor, basically aggressive investing means looking at portfolios or funds that have an average return of 10% plus annually over time. So number four, invest your savings, whatever you're putting aside, based on number one. And when I say invest, this can be monies that are in, again, a TFSA, an RRSP, maybe a LIRA. A LIRA would be like let's say a pension plan from an old employer. Any monies that is allocated for retirement and you're not retiring in the next 10 years, your target should be 10% plus annually. So take a look at what you're currently invested in and see if that's what you have. If it's not, then that's a whole other course on investment risk and how investments work, but that's really what your target should be when it comes to retirement money. Number six, assess your current income situation. This is something, yes, Monique?
Sorry, I thought we were on number four.
Yes, number four. Now we're going on number five.
Okay, you said number six. Okay, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oops. Going ahead of myself. Thank you. Okay, number four. Number five, assess your current income situation. This is something we do not talk about enough when it comes to our personal finances, when it comes to investing, when it comes to having enough money to live the lifestyle we want to live, and retirement planning. You need to ask yourself what your income situation, you need to reflect on your current income situation. Are you getting paid enough? And it's a hard question to ask yourself, but if we want to retire comfortably, if we want to live a comfortable life while we're still working, us as women, we need to assess our current income situation. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, I see this a lot with women is women tend to stay at jobs where they're underpaid or they run businesses that don't make enough money. And I hate saying it because I'm a big believer in women's empowerment, but it's something that's true. And what I end up seeing is women who pour their heart and soul into whether it's their job or their business, and it's not bringing them enough money. And then they do this for many years, and next thing you know, they end up, let's say, in their 50s, and they're like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to retire. So really assess your income situation, whether you are self-employed, have a business, or you're a salary employee, or you work, you have a job. Is the company you're working for, do they have a group RRSP that matches? Do they have a pension plan? A lot of companies will have the group RRSP, but they don't match. Not a lot of companies anymore have pension plans like the bigger corporations do, but the smaller ones don't. If you're in a situation where, let's say, you reach a point, you're like, I'm just struggling with my money, and you have no retirement savings, an honest question you need to ask yourself is this the point where I suck it up and I go get a position somewhere that has some type of pension plan, because I'm not going to be able to do it myself, right? I'm just pointing these things out, like these little, I'm pointing these things out because, again, we don't talk about it enough, but I see it in the financial world. I see it dealing with clients. I see it talking one-on-one, even in the Zooms and in person. Lynn, like, I love my business so much. I love my job so much, but I can't afford to buy a house. I'm approaching retirement. There's just not enough money. And especially now when interest rates are still high, they're steady. Inflation is coming down, but it's still higher. Are you making enough money? And this is something, especially right now, that we all need to assess when it comes to our current income situation. So that's number 5. Assess your current income situation. Is it enough? Can you afford all the things that you need to do in a regular financial plan without struggling, without having to be super tight on your budget? Number 6, review your insurance coverage. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because I see many mistakes when it comes to insurance. Number 1, I see the overselling of life insurance. When you are single, no children, life insurance needs are not priority. I offer life insurance as one of my products, and this is a common mistake that I see in my industry. Single, no children, life insurance is not the priority. The priority is protecting your income, because life insurance is if you want to leave a legacy, or if you have anybody who's dependent on you physically being there, or dependent on you for your income. That's the purpose of life insurance. But when you're single and you lose your job, you get sick, you can no longer earn an income. So as a single person, your priority when it comes to insurance coverage is critical illness insurance and disability. Disability insurance if you earn more than about $63,000 a year. Why do I say that? That's the max that employment insurance will cover you for if you were to get sick. Over 63,000, if you don't have additional disability coverage through your work, you need to come up with the shortfall, because since you're the person who's dependent on your own income, you have to make sure that you can still pay your bills, put money aside, put a roof over your head, put food on the table. If you're sick, maybe you have to pay for things like transportation, to physiotherapy, or to doctor's appointments. You need to make sure that you could cover the bills of your lifestyle if you can no longer earn an income. Again, life insurance is not the priority anymore, and I see that it's oversold. If you have life insurance that you got a long time ago and you haven't looked at the policy, it's paid up, or maybe it's not paid up, maybe you're still paying it, reassess if you need that life insurance anymore and what your options are. Critical illness insurance covers you if you are diagnosed with a critical illness. There are two types. There's a basic one. There are basic ones that cover you for 4 illnesses, and there's one that it's full coverage for 25 illnesses. This is basically a lump sum tax-free amount that's paid out to you upon diagnosis of a critical illness for 30 days. Okay, again, it's you are responsible as a single person for your income if you're no longer able to work because of accident disability or diagnosis of a critical illness. Your bills still need to get paid. If you don't have something in place, the first thing you're going to do is reach into your savings. Once you run out of your savings, you're going to put it on credit. That's what happens. That's the cycle of life. So review your insurance coverage, especially if you have an old insurance policy that's either paid up or you're still paying into. Do you need this anymore? And can we shift it over to something else that you actually need? Number 7, maintain good money habits. It's obvious, but it's just a reminder. It's just a reminder because when you're single, once again, you're responsible for the 4 walls of your home. And even more so than when you're in a relationship where maybe you have a partner who'll cover you when you screw up financially. When you're single, it's you. So if you party hard and go out every weekend and spend hundreds of dollars every week, not good in terms of money habits, and the only person that you could fall on to fix is yourself. If you're in debt, make sure you manage that debt to pay it off. Simple things. Live below your means, put money aside, invest that money, make sure it's tax efficient in the end. That's my financial planning 101, those general rules. And the last thing, number 8, is work with professionals. That's what they're there for. Sometimes I see women who break their heads trying to file their own taxes and they spend weeks trying to do it. I don't understand why you do that. Just go pay a tax specialist to do it. And if you're someone who asks a lot of questions, hopefully a tax specialist will sit there and answer your questions. If you have a business, same thing. Don't break your head doing it. That's what we're here for. Sometimes as women, we just need to know everything. And I understand that, but that's what professionals are there for as well. Like I could actually, I've done it before, and that's why I'm saying I'm not going to, that's why I'm saying call professionals. I've actually built a room from scratch when we bought our first house. We turned our 2 garages into two bedrooms. So I've actually put up the gyprock and the insulation and the flooring and all that. Would I do it again? No, that's what they have professionals for. Same thing when it comes to your finances. Financial advisor, tax specialist, and if you have a business, maybe notary or lawyer, depending on what it is. That's what we're here for, to help you out with those holes in your finances that you're not sure of, or that you need reassurance on, or that you just don't want to break your head over because you're too busy working or enjoying life. So those are my 8 points when it comes to retirement planning when you're single. It's not that different from any other situation, but the key thing is that you are 1,000% responsible for the income and your money habits during your working years, and you're 1,000% responsible for your retirement income during retirement. So it's so important to be much more on top of things when it comes to your finances than when you're with a partner.